All right, guys, here we are on Wednesday, the 4th, 5th, 6th of May. Wow. We're going to go over editing today. Editing's like that last thing you do before you publish something, before you turn it in. Now, editing should happen throughout the entire writing process. Don't save, did I spell everything right till the end? Don't save your periods, exclamation marks, commas, quotations, question marks to the end, because that is a mess, right? So editing should happen, like proper sentences should be written as you go along. Capital letter, period at the end, or if there's a name, capital letter on the name. Those things should happen the entire time. Spelling should happen the entire time. However, before you turn in a piece, you're going to go back through it and say, did I do these things? Check for them so that you know that very last time. Because sometimes when you're writing, you miss something because you're in the moment. Okay, so here we are in writing. Down here, May 6th editing checklist. This is what it looks like. Okay, so this is your 4th grade editing checklist. I edit for punctuation. Okay, punctuation. Do I have a period? Do I have commas? Am I using quotations if I'm quoting something? Am I using a question if I'm asking a question? Okay, like sometimes we're putting in periods where there should be question marks. So we're going to go and check for that. Check for capital letters at the beginning of new sentences. I know this sounds like no, really, Miss Marzullo? But did you put a capital letter after you put a punctuation? Period, capital letter. Question mark, capital letter. When using proper nouns, we've studied proper nouns this year. Names of people, titles. If you wrote those shoes should be capitalized. If you wrote a name of a restaurant, if you named a specific person in the book, okay? When giving someone else's title, so like Mr., Mrs., Doctor, so on. Check that known high frequency words are spelled correctly. Now, these are like your everyday words because everything that you see high frequency means that you see them often. However, I'm going to say every word should be spelled correctly. You're doing it on a Chromebook. If you have a question about a word, you should seek an adult. You could look it up. You could verbalize it into your Chromebook so that it's spelled correctly. There isn't really a reason to have a misspelled word. Read work aloud to check for fragments. Okay. I would honestly suggest have somebody else read it aloud in your house to check that you have punctuation in the right spot. Fragments mean the sentence is really short, right? Run-on means a sentence is so long the person cannot breathe. You know how it should sound, so a lot of times you will read it the way you think it should sound with the right punctuation, even though it's not there. So I strongly suggest have someone else in the home read it and you listen to them. If the sentence doesn't sound like you think it should, then you're missing a punctuation and you can go back and fix it. The last one is reread work for comma usage. Now, we know that punctuation like periods, question marks, exclamation means stop, take a breath, move on. Commas go in places that mean pause, right? They also go in lists. He was kind, comma, nice, comma, and a good friend. Okay, so we know those types of things. So looking for comma usage, that's a 4th grade skill. So you're going to go into your literary essay. Here's mine. Yes, not completed. Left out the example so you don't copy me. But I would go through and check for one of those things at a time. So let's say I'm going to check for editing for punctuation. I'm going to look at each sentence. I'm going to look at each paragraph. I might ask somebody to read it. Then I would go back through and I would look for capital letters, or I'd ask somebody to look for capital letters, and so on. So it's not about looking at all of them, at all the editing skills at the same time. It's about taking one by one, going through, scouring my writing for each one. And today when you're done, you'll turn